Hey, it's Thomas here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Aqua Illumination's Nero pumps. If you've been looking for a very compact, feature-rich, app-controlled DC flow pump that is super user-friendly and easily affordable, starting at $150 for 2,000 gallons per hour of flow, then hang tight because AI's got you covered with these little water rockets. It should come as no surprise that water circulation plays a critical role in the health of our reef aquariums. It's responsible for gas exchange and oxygenation, aids in filtration by keeping detritus suspended in the water column so it can move it through the filtration system, and not only brings nutrients and food to our corals, but also removes waste so they can thrive. I think it's pretty safe to say that all reefers share a few desires when it comes to picking up the perfect circulation pump for our reef tanks. First off, make it as small and unimposing as possible so it's easy to hide. Also, make it as quiet as possible so we don't have to hear it, and give us as many control options as possible while keeping things affordable and easy to use. I think AI's really nailed that wish list with their Nero pumps. Not only are these puck-style propeller pumps ultra compact, but so is their controller. They're very quiet, provide lots of control and float schedule options, an easy-to-use app to set them up, as well as onboard control for the basics, and now include an optional guard for small fish and inverts. Plus, they now come in a smaller model with the Nero 3 pump. But before we get into all the details, let's get this one out of the box. In the box, you'll find the Nero pump with the magnetic mount and inline controller with its own mount, the small fish and invert guard, the cable management accessories, the power supply with universal adapters, as well as the quick start guide. The Nero pumps now come in two sizes: the Nero 5 that I have here, pushing up to 3,000 gallons per hour, and the newer, smaller Nero 3, pushing up to 2,000 gallons per hour. Both of these pumps are incredibly compact, with the 5 coming in at 2.8 inches in diameter and only 2.1 inches thick with the magnet, and the 3 a tiny 2¼ inches in diameter and only 1.4 inches thick, which is super impressive. AI was able to achieve this form factor with a very unique impeller design. Rather than an impeller attached to the end of a magnet that sits inside of a well, Nero's impeller blades are affixed to the outside of a sealed magnetic ring that wraps around the outside of the motor, which makes for a much flatter pump that is much easier to hide and sneak into tight spaces. AI also opted to use a thinner power cable, which hides quite well in the tank and is very easy to manage and keep tidy, which really adds to the hideability of these pumps. And yes, hideability is a word. I had to look it up. When it comes to mounting these pumps, the dual magnetic mount system works really nicely, and the mount's attached to glass up to roughly ½ inch thick, and the inner mount is concave and cradles the back of the pump, allowing for it to be pointed and aimed up, down, left, right, or anywhere in between, with up to roughly 15 degrees of angle. It is important to note, though, that if you do use the optional small fish guard, the pump will need to be faced straight forward. The controller or driver for these Nero pumps is absolutely tiny. It's actually the smallest that I've ever come across, and that's going to be fantastic for saving space on your controller board or keeping things hidden and out of sight. Even at its minuscule size, there's a single button with a halo indicator light for onboard control. Right out of the box, you can turn the pump on or off by holding down the button for 6 seconds. Click the button to cycle through 6 flow speeds from 1% all the way up to 100% in 20% increments, and press and hold the button for 2 to 5 seconds for a feed mode that will slow the pump down to 1% for 10 minutes. However, the fun really begins when you download the My AI app to your smart device. The Nero pumps are really easy to pair up, it is super quick, and you don't need to worry about Wi-Fi passwords or anything like that. I'm almost willing to say that it is the easiest device pairing that I've done to date for an app-controlled aquarium pump. The app provides 3 flow modes, including constant flow, pulse, and random modes, with the ability to adjust the maximum flow, the minimum flow, and the variance of each mode. Max and min settings are pretty straightforward. The variance setting, however, is how frequently the pump will switch speeds. For random mode, a high variance will change to a random flow within your minimum and maximum settings more frequently than a low variance setting. You don't have to stick to just a single flow setting though. You can easily create a 24-hour flow schedule simply by dragging and dropping the flow modes into place. You can then drag the edges to the times you'd like them to start and stop, or click on them to fine-tune the times, as well as the max, min, and variance of the mode for that part of the day. You can even include feed mode into the schedule so that it lines up with your automatic feeder settings, giving you the ability to really create a flow schedule that not only works best for your particular fish, corals, and aquascape, but also works in tandem with the other gear on your tank. The Nero pumps can also be run in a parent and child configuration if you're using multiple pumps, with the child pump mirroring the parent's schedule. The app allows you to set the phase of the child pump, so rather than having the option of being an exact mirror of the parent with a phase of 0 degrees, or doing the exact opposite of the parent with a phase of 180 degrees, you can actually set the child pump to chase the parent by setting the phase to 90 degrees, providing a slight offset between the pumps, which can create some fantastic randomized flow patterns within the tank. The app also allows you to turn all of your Nero pumps on or off all at once, instead of unplugging pumps one at a time or turning each pump off individually on the controller. One tap and they all turn off, so you can take them out of the aquarium for a quick citric acid bath right there in a bucket next to the tank, which should be pretty easy to do even while they're still plugged in, thanks to that very generous 10-foot cable between the pump and the controller. They're also very easy to disassemble when you need to do a more thorough cleaning, a quick twist of the cover, and it comes right off, giving you access to the impeller. Like I mentioned earlier, AI now includes a fish guard to help keep those smaller or slower moving fish and inverts safe from finding their way into the back of the pump. It's really easy to install and just sits between the back of the pump and the magnet, and has a small notch to accommodate the power cord. It doesn't click or snap on, but rather is held comfortably in place by that inner magnet. I do highly recommend using the guard, even if you think your fish or inverts might be just fine. It's always better to err on the side of caution. And truly, at $150 for the 2,000 gallon per hour Nero 3 and $200 for the Nero 5, these are one of the absolute best bang for your buck flow pumps available, which is just one more reason why they're so dang popular. If these tiny little flow cannons match your reefing mantra, you can go ahead and pick one up for yourself by clicking right here.